Hello and welcome to the first Dumbbells by Dumbbells. These two guys. I'm Adam Solgant, and today I'm here with Matt Smith, our Director of Personal Training. Thanks for being our first dumbbell, Matt.
Thank you, Adam. I'm glad to be included in the dumbbells.
Cool. You're doing something pretty remarkable this weekend. Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, Adam, we're myself and three other guys, Rob Lawrence, Bernie Eng, and Tim Patterson, will be fast packing from Pitcher Rocks in the UP back to Tequamanon Falls. It's approximately 100 to 110 miles, give or take a little.
So how'd this come about? Like, why do you get into something like this? What's your motivation?
Well, the three guys that I'm doing this with, they all do a lot of kind of crazy endurance events also. And Rob Lawrence came up with the concept of this late fall last year and started talking to a few of us whether we'd be interested. And Tim Patterson and I jumped on board right away. And then Bernie Eng decided to join us later. So Rob really kind of came up with the concept and did a lot of the research on the trail and resources along the way and things like that.
Speaking of the trail, is this like a man-carved trail, or is this just out in the woods and you're with compasses or GPS of some type? How's that working?
It is primarily a single track trail, and it's we're following the North Country Trail, which the North Country Trail travels from New York all the way out to Minnesota through 7 states. It was kind of always known as the Northern Passage from east to west for anybody that was traveling the northern fur-bearing routes and stuff like that. So primarily it's a single track trail. It is marked. There will be some gravel roads and things like that, but it's primarily a single track trail.
And so you'll be out in the woods for long portions of this, 100 miles. So that's a lot. You brought your pack with you. If you want to hold that up and kind of show people, tell us about your pack, how much weight's in there, and how you got to that. And
yeah, so like I said, when we started talking about this, we started doing a lot of research about packs and how much weight can we actually run with, because the difference between backpacking and hiking is that, or backpacking and fast packing, is that we'll be running primarily with these packs on our back. And so we started doing a lot of research on fast packing and finding ultralight equipment and ultralight gear. For instance, my sleeping bag is in here, and my sleeping bag is rated down to 35 degrees, and it only weighs 1.5 pounds. So it's a very small, very, very light. And it just took a lot of research to kind of find that stuff. This pack is 25 liters in total volume and has 2 bottles on the outside there that I can carry 48 ounces of water with at a time. And with 3 days worth of food and the 48 ounces of water, I'm at 15 pounds right here.
So 48 ounces of water, I mean, I personally, I'd be done with that in about 6 hours. So what's your plan on that? Like, how are you feeding off the land? What's this?
Yeah, absolutely. 48 ounces of water for me when I'm running, especially with a pack on, and our temperatures are supposed to be around mid 60s. Okay. That's about 4 hours worth of water for me, roughly, in these conditions. And so there, along the North Country Trail, there are some potable water options. We don't know how many of those will be open, will be closed, will be working, broken, whatever the case may be. So we all are carrying what's called a Sawyer Mini, and it's a 2-ounce water filter with a straw, and we can literally drink out of creeks, we can drink out of Lake Superior. So along the way, we can continue to refill our bottles with those. So that's kind of the water resource and how you manage that, because you can certainly carry 3 days worth of food, but you can't carry 3 days worth of water. So you've got to research and understand what you can do to get through with the water.
I think it's interesting you say you can carry 3 days worth of food. It's Memorial Weekend. There's going to be a lot of people eating a lot more than what you've got packed in this backpack. Yeah. So I commend you for that. That's good self-control. You mentioned sleeping, and I kind of wondered about that. I was like, I didn't know if you're going to be, all alone. If you're going to have to, Katniss Everdeen this and climb up in a tree and hunker down for the evening. With the 4 guys, how do you feel about that? Are you taking shifts? What's the thought on that?
We'll all sleep at the same time. The UP is pretty safe. I mean, nobody's been, eaten or attacked by a bear lately, so not huge concerns there. I mean, we make a lot of jokes about it.
I bet.
We also make jokes about who's the slowest person in the group because they're going to be most susceptible to something like that. But in all seriousness, you can pretty much sleep outside without too much worry about things like that happening. So 3 of us are sleeping in hammocks. And one guy, Rob, is actually taking a tent. So he has a very, very small, very ultralight tent. He'll be on the ground. The other 3 of us chose hammocks. And that was part of our research over the course of the last few months. And we met periodically and tried out different things. We hung the hammocks. We put the tent up. A couple of them even spent a night overnight just to try these things out and see what can we do, what's going to work. Again, I went with the hammock just because it's lighter than the tent. My hammock is about 8 ounces. And then I have the mummy sack. And then I have a tarp that's actually referred to as an asymmetrical tarp that will hang over top of me. And you can buy asymmetrical tarps. I simply got a piece of Tyvek, the regular house wrap, and put some loops on it, and that's what's going to hang above me in case it rains or to keep moisture off or anything like that. So everything is done to be very, very, very light as possible.
Okay, so it sounds like you mentioned in there about animals, bear attacks, potential. Is there any fear there? Are you guys prepped to have to defend yourselves if need be? What's happening with that?
Well, there was a question of whether we're taking bear spray or pepper spray or anything like that, and we are not. Okay. A few people from the UP said, typically, again, we're in an area where if you did come across a bear, it's going to typically be a black bear. Black bears are pretty docile compared to, say, a grizzly bear or a brown bear or something like that you would be much more concerned about your safety in that setting. A lot of people we talked to said, if you encountered a black bear and it came up on its back, hind legs, if you posture back to it and you put your hands up in the air and yell at it, 9 times out of 10, it's going to turn around and run away.
Okay.
So, we have talked about it a little bit, but, again, Memorial Day weekend in the UP, this is a pretty popular trail. There will be some other people out there. We'll encounter other people too. So. Okay.
Have you considered the possibility of a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch?
No. No, but I assure you that we all have cameras ready, and if we see a Bigfoot, I'm getting a picture. Okay. There's no doubt.
All right, good plan. I like that. What's your biggest reason why? Part of this actually is you're raising money for. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So when Rob came up with this idea of this trip, the first thing that I thought of was, well, I raise money for the Fallen and Wounded Soldiers Fund every year. And I thought this is the perfect platform for me to use this year to raise money for Fallen and Wounded Soldiers Fund. It's a great opportunity over Memorial Day weekend to raise awareness of our fallen and wounded soldiers. So, that turned into my reason why. That turned into, the driving force for me behind using this trip to raise awareness and raise funds for that. And currently right now, I'm just shy of $2,500 raised over the last about 6 to 8 weeks. I'd really like to get that mark up to about $3,000 is kind of my goal.
That's your goal?
Yeah, okay. That's my goal is to get up to about $3,000. And the Fallen and Wounded Soldiers Fund is something that's very important to me. I'm a 12-year Army vet, served in Somalia in 1993 in combat. So I understand how fortunate I am to have come home unharmed, back to my family in a situation where a lot of people do not. So I feel very, very blessed to have the physical ability and the mental stamina to be able to use what I love to do anyway, to be able to, use that as a platform to raise money. Fallen and Wounded Soldiers Fund is our favorite charity because it is a Michigan-based organization. So all of the money stay within the state of Michigan. And also it's a completely volunteer run organization. So approximately 95 to 96% of all the monies raised go directly to the families that need it. So those are two things that really kind of drove me towards that. And I got to thank Craig Elford for introducing me to the Fallen and Wounded Soldiers Fund about 5 years ago.
Cool. Thank you for your service, especially on a weekend like this. It's definitely something to remember and to think about. We will share, Matt can give me the link and we'll share this, his donation page. We'll have the link underneath this post and I'll put it in the description of this YouTube video. So if you are interested in donating, I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Let's try to get him to that $3,000 goal. That'd be really sweet.
Yeah.
I think the last thing I have is a little card for you that this came from my sister Beth, who I think might be watching. And inside is a 4-leaf clover. So I weighed this before I left, and you're welcome to take it with you if you'd like.
That is awesome.
It's only 2 ounces.
Yeah.
Actually, it's probably 1/10 of an ounce. I didn't actually weigh. But if you want to take it, go for it. It's just a good luck charm from us from Greater Midland to make sure that you get back home healthy, happy, and that you've done an outstanding job.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
we
I will.
appreciate
I'll hear that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, leave comments on our YouTube page or our Facebook channel. I hope you enjoyed hearing about the adventure that Matt's going to partake this weekend. Thank you. Stop.
Cool. That was awesome.